Well, I found my passion at the age of 39. I want them to automate their businesses so that they don't have to send their children. Yes, you may get into a funnel, you may click a button, but at the end, if you're going to spend a longer period of time, it better be with the right person. Why should a customer buy from you and not your competitor?
Either you can live your dream or help somebody else live their dreams, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
To just get the stuff done is a different thing. To get the stuff working is a very different thing, right? What if you can make 10 lakhs a month? Like, he will like, pagal hai, it's like, as long as it feels impossible, it is impossible, right? So
Yes.
what's your advice to anybody who just wants to start out? Like, if you are a businessman, an aspiring entrepreneur ना, तो आज का एपिसोड आपके लिए नो ब्रेनर होना चाहिए. बिकॉज आज के जो हमारे गेस्ट है ना, ही इज अ टाटा अवार्डी, an international business coach, author to a book named Cash Flow Secrets, and much more. आज के इस एपिसोड में ना हमने इतनी सारी चीज़ें डिस्कस की है, फ्रॉम AI टू स्केलिंग योर बिजनेस टू हाउ टू सॉल्व योर स्टैग्नेशन. सो मेक श्योर you stick till the end. Enjoy the show. So, pretty excited to have Akhil on the show. And I really want to give a very warm welcome to Akhil because I think he brings a lot to the table from which we all can learn. And it really means a lot for me to have your time, because I feel time is the most precious thing that you can share with anyone, more than even money. So thank you, Akhil. And please, I welcome you to my podcast, Dream with Neeraj Show. And looking forward to this conversation. So before we begin, I just want to give the context to the viewers, like what you bring to this podcast. So, it was pretty interesting to see when I was researching about you. So, you are an international business coach first. Then you are also an executive director at Smeltech Carbon. Then you are also an awardee of the Tata Award. You are also a fourth generation entrepreneur, right? So, and you have also written a book, The Cash Flow Secrets. So I feel there is so much on the table to explore. So just giving the viewers the context at what the amount of quality and knowledge that this man possesses. So let's begin. Like, you accomplished all of this, right? So let's begin with your school days, your college life. Like, did you imagine, like, you will be doing this? And how do you see that?
Well, firstly, Neeraj, thank you for inviting me. I'm looking forward to this talk with you. Okay, and thank you for inviting me here. Yes, firstly, thank you for this amazing introduction. Okay, there's a long story behind this introduction, but let's go back to, like you mentioned, school days. I went to a boarding school in Dehradun at the age of 5. And, that was not a good memory at the age of 5, being put in a boarding school and your parents have to, they had to leave you there and go back home. And that memory has been with me ever since. And today, that's a part of my purpose, is to help uh, business owners so that I want them to automate their businesses so that they don't have to send their children, uh, so far away to study, and spend the maximum time with them. A lot of us are busy with work, 9 to 5, maybe, business owners
Correct.
work 10 hours a day. And I want them to automate their businesses so that they can spend more time with their children. So yeah, got a lot to do with my school days of being sent in a boarding school at the age of 5.
I see. But I feel like, in school times or in college times, we actually cannot imagine, like, people ask us, like, what do you see 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Like, I don't know about you, but I feel like I could not have imagined, like, being as a kid, and then he being an international business coach, and then he being, writing a book. Like, you don't imagine such stuff, right? So was
Right.
it like, after you have accomplished this many things, was it like very surprising? Like, सोचा नहीं था कभी पहले बचपन में कि I'll be doing this in the field of finance or business.
Well, I found my passion at the age of 39, just 3 years back. And in school, yes, there were moments which ignited your values, which ignited your potential. I remember in class 5, they made me a captain for 2 weeks. And I was a strict captain at that point of time. And that was the
I see.
only time I got to lead.
Oh,
In throughout
okay.
my school time, those 10 days is something which I cannot forget because that leadership got the best out of me. And those were 10 days. So throughout school, I didn't get to lead. Even college, I didn't get to lead. And today I realize leadership brings the best out of me. And probably should have led
I
in
should have.
many. Yeah, I should have led. And now being a coach, you're leading clients, you're leading the seminars ahead. So that brings the best out of me, and takes me back to school days, for those 10 days which ignited that potential in me there.
So, a lot of people try to find their passion, right? Like they are in search of like that one thing that, might change their life, or that one thing. But I sort of feel that, you create your passion. Like, sort of, sometimes you just have to jump, and then you realize, okay, maybe this is something that I can build. Like when you started, international business coach thing, your own sort of program. I feel at the starting point of time, you might not have been that passionate about it, but I feel like when you are in the path, or you have, fumbled, fallen down, and then gotten up, you feel like, yeah, this is sort of my passion, because I've grown and invested my time into this. This is sort of something that, when people come to you and they say to you, like, Akhil, this is sort of transformed our life. So I think that is what reignites that passion role. Like, just asking your perspective on it, like, how do you feel?
I've always been passionate about business. There's no two ways about that.
Dude,
I'm a fourth generation business owner. My great grandfather started this manufacturing unit in Orissa, and
nice.
this year we are celebrating 87 years of the company. And I've always been passionate about business and how to automate and scale businesses. But when value and purpose gets aligned, and that's true passion being ignited. And this happened during in 2020, and I found my passion in helping other business owners. During lockdown, phones were off, not ringing much. Businesses were off, and that's the moment
Correct.
I realized, what am I actually doing? Sorry. So I've been heading my with my father, we've been heading the company for, and I've been personally involved for the last 18 years. And
Hmm.
we've been dealing with some big clients, like for example, like you mentioned, Tata. And once we hit lockdown, I realized it felt like I'm just servicing my clients, because once businesses shut, and then there was no business for 2-3 months, and then I realized, the customer, I'm just helping the customer out here, but I wanted to do
Correct.
something bigger, help people at a larger scale. And that's when I started taking on to small and medium business owners. I joined BNI back then, and from there on, there's been no looking back, because you're helping somebody, and like I said, to
Correct.
connect with their children. That's the bigger purpose, to connect with their children. And business is a passion, so the subject remains the same, and my business is still there, and I'm still a part of the business, so I get to do both, which is a privilege. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you already had that missing piece of the puzzle because of your family lineage, right? So a lot
Yes,
of things that people might want to do MBA for, or certain things that you already had that in your family, right? So it was like a passed down recipe through your generations. And in 2020, you realize that this is something that can really help people scale and automate their business, right? And doing that, you found out ki this is certainly inclines with my passion, and is also sort of transforming lives. So I think
absolutely.
that's really beautiful. So the next thing, what I would like to ask you is that you have been managing so many things, right? From writing a book, managing your own consultancy, being executive director. So how do you sort of manage time and try to be like productive in different phases, like you are in this one? Like
Like,
how do you do that?
so firstly, regarding the company, our family business, it's been there for 87 years now. And
Correct.
we've put in place systems which can run the business without our day to day involvement. So that the business doesn't require, it gives me some time freedom to do, to go and help other business owners as well. And it's growing as well. So it's on auto mode, and it's growing as well. We put in systems in that way. So I give 2 hours a day to my business, and 2 to 3 days in a week. Apart from that, there's coaching. We do one-on-one coaching. We also do a small group of personalized business owners, offline and online. So these two are there. I do keep some time for my hobbies in reading books, and I do write whenever I get a chance. I do write, and that's how I,
Awesome.
you and the journey of personal development. You expand, and so that you can let in all. you take care of all areas of your life. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. I feel I would like to add on to this question is that, certainly because of this AI thing coming in, I think it has impacted a lot in terms of automation of the business and scalability, like the time it used to require back maybe post pre-COVID era and after the post-COVID era, because I think COVID gave the first boost in terms of getting things online. And then when the AI started being really good in implementation, it gave the second boost for, I think, the entrepreneurs to, really not give any excuses in terms of scaling. Like, how has it transformed and related in your business and teachings?
Yeah, AI is a great is welcoming move. For it does automate things at the end, but behind all of that is a human being.
True.
There's a human behind all of it, and you need to do your own push-ups. I mean, without the push-ups, there are absolutely no results. You got to work. Uh, then the other part of coaching is also hard work. A major part of coaching is coaching from your heart. And yes, AI is good for the knowledge, AI is good for the information. But when you go vertical with a business owner, and there are past experiences, there are beliefs, what you
Hmm.
need to work on, and that's where the hard work comes into the picture. And yes, AI is good for the knowledge, good for the skill, enhancement. But where the coaching is concerned, it needs to be vertical.
Yeah, yeah, but it's like it's still a long shot. That's what you're trying
Yes,
to say. Like it is
yes,
helpful in terms of getting the basic stuff done that might not
yes,
require human intervention, but still
yes,
you need to have that human psyche behind the setup. Uh,
absolutely. You need to
yeah,
have the
cool.
feelings, you need to have the emotions while you're doing your business. You need to be emotionally attached to your goals. I mean, if you're not attached to your goals, there's no, your why needs to be strong, and the how
Yeah,
becomes easier. So that's it.
yeah, Simon Sinek. Matlab that golden circle video kind of hits you. Like
Yes,
that's really really beautiful.
yes,
Because why I asked this question is that nowadays I see so many ads. Like Instagram is popping up with business coaches ad. Even the Meta is pushing out so much of ads, and all of these coaches would the selling point they make is launch your funnel in 3 hours, launch your funnel in 2 hours, automate. You might require so does it sound to you like it's sort of more like marketing gimmick than, because ultimately what I also feel and agree with you is that no matter how good the AI is, it still requires that human psyche, it still requires that thing. You might launch a funnel, but is it that useful? Like to just get the stuff done is a different thing, to get the stuff working is a very different thing, right? To
absolutely.
give you the profit. So what's your take into it? Because nowadays I'm seeing this is increasing so much. Like every other day I see somebody saying the same thing, like not even changing the words, like AI, launch your funnel in 3 hours. So what's your perspective on this?
See, the tools which are now available, right? So now there are more tools which are there to help you to get the work done, and which is good. Which is good. It makes things easier. It does definitely make things easier out there. And
Definitely.
there is a need for more coaches. There are billions of businesses, and you need more coaches to help, and they need help. They need
Correct.
help, and I mean, if we don't help, there's nobody else to help them. Okay, and so that's why we need more coaches to help business owners, and it's an ocean out there. So the more, the merrier in that way.
That's true. So what I wanted to ask you was that do you feel that it's like it's correct in terms of strategizing your sale like that? Because ultimately I feel it's just a start of the funnel for that is what they're trying to do, trying
Yeah,
to hook people through the AI, and then
yeah,
getting. So as I see you, I know you already have a lot of things going on, your credibility in terms of your family background and everybody, but a lot of scams have also increased nowadays, and people do have increased faith in coaches now because there are really good coaches out there that can really add so much value in their life. And I am all for paying the money and getting my stuff done if it saves me my time, if it helps me scale, right? I'm all
yeah.
for it. But I'm just asking you this because there is a thin line in terms of scam and then giving the profit to the customer. So what's your perspective on that?
So I truly believe, like, people buy people, and
Correct.
I mean, it. doesn't mean about an AI or an automated tool, but at the end, who are you buying? After all, you need to have a connection with the person who's going to lead you forward.
Correct.
And this, I truly believe that yes, you may get into a funnel, you may click a button, but at the end, if you're going to spend a longer period of time, it better be with the right person. And I do believe that coaching is not a 2 month game or a 3 month game.
Exactly.
Many businesses have business coaches for generations. Bajaj is a clear example of that. And so you need to have a connection with the person who you are with for that period of time. Yeah,
I like this line. It's never B2C. It's always B2B. Like it's like, or it's actually, it's always P2P, because it's always people to people.
absolutely.
And yeah, that was something beautiful that you said, because I relate to it so much. People always underestimate the value of the kind of relationship that you build, because ultimately that is what you're selling. If
Absolutely.
if a consumer is coming to you, and the first time he buys something, and if it's not at what he expected, then maybe there's a bad word of mouth, or maybe he never comes back to you. So
Right.
ultimately you are just harming your business rather than expanding it, which I feel people don't immediately realize it before making that mistake. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. So
Sure.
I guess you also travel a lot. So can you tell about, like, what has travel done to you in terms of personal growth?
Traveling has been a major role, played a major role because, as I said, in the family business, we deal with companies who are located in different areas, and our family business is in Western Orissa, in the poorest district of India, and from there we export to over 16 countries. And yeah, I've been fortunate to be heading the sales and marketing of that company for the last 18 years, and that's got me to move around quite a lot, not only within the country but overseas as well. What it does is there's always a lesson to learn with every travel, right? And I told you, business has been a passion, and always wanting to pick up things, best practices. Whenever you enter another person's company, you want to learn from them. I've always been a big student, and learned from last 4 generations, and visiting every customers, anything, best practices, you try and see how you can better that. And that's how we've implemented systems in our company, by travel, learn, pick up the best practices and get it and test it and implement it. And that's what's worked for me.
That's really awesome, because that has been a similar case in my. I think traveling is something so beautiful in terms of opening you as a person, because a lot of things that you don't realize about yourself, they come out when you're traveling, especially when you're traveling solo, or when you're traveling not because you want to travel, but because you need to travel, so that you have to open up, you have to take those decisions. I think it teaches you a lot in terms of quick decision making,
Absolutely.
survival. And I think people underestimate traveling a lot. They feel like it's just for fun, but I feel traveling is one of the biggest teacher you can get in life. It makes you humble, because you realize in different bubbles people live in, right? Because in one bubble, the concept of the world is so different than what you believe the world is, right? It may be very
Absolutely.
simple for them, to
Absolutely.
get one thing A to B.
It is. And and once you travel, that's when you realize the need for systems. Because when the company is working
True,
without you, that's when you see where the flaws are. So many
true.
times you're traveling, and then you're getting calls from the company, you're getting calls from the customer, and that's when you realize that you need to implement systems which can let you travel with in peace, which can let you travel.
True.
And yeah, you get the bird eyes view as well, and you get to see more when you travel, definitely.
So there is an interesting aspect to it. So I heard this line, and I kind of agree with it. Is like, if you are a owner, right? If you are a business owner, or somebody who is trying to lead a group of people, as long as you are involved in operation, the system cannot scale. As long as
Yeah,
you are involved in the operations, the system cannot scale, because
absolutely.
you need to do some things that drives the ship forward, not actually being the engineer inside the engine, trying to fix the problem. So what's your perspective onto it? Like, this is something that really hit me hard. Like, yeah, you need to get out of the thing.
And it's spot on. And you've heard so many of people say that I'm busy in day-to-day operation. this day-to-day operations. And when you get into day-to-day operation and then you ignore the growth activities, you
Correct.
ignore the marketing side, you ignore sales, you ignore new product development, you ignore to even look at reports, to show you MIS, for example. So there are these areas which are totally ignored, and you just focus within the company, and you forget to focus, where the growth is. And so you might make the best, you might write the best book, but if it's not the best seller, that's why Amazon has bestseller and not the best writer, because you need to sell.
Correct.
And if you, and this I'm talking with experiences, if you get stuck in day-to-day operation and the
Hmm.
competitor out there has different plans, we're in trouble. And doers,
Agree.
technicians, they are just focused in today. They're just focused in today. They don't care about tomorrow, and they don't care about what happened yesterday. And if you're just focused on today, then the competitor is coming in for you. And that's where the
True.
strategy is, the growth. Again, strategies is a big part of growth. And if you don't spend time in strategies on a visionary mode, then there's trouble. Then there's the iceberg coming in, which you can't see.
Correct.
Yeah.
You just read my mind because I feel then the ship is directionless, right?
Yes.
You know everything about the ship. Maybe you are the person to go to in terms of like which screw is loose in the ship. But what about the direction? Like if you don't know where it's heading, it's of no use having the world class Titanic if it's gonna sink, right? Yeah, it really makes sense. So since you mentioned about writing, now let's move on to your book, The Cash
Yes.
Flow Secrets. I'm really curious to know, like, how did you get this idea? That's the first part. And second, can you highlight like one thing from the book that you feel adds really a lot of value to people? Like you feel the highlight of that book is that line or that phrase or that idea.
Right. I got into writing this book because there were a lot of thoughts, and there's a lot of knowledge which I wanted to give away, and I just took a paper and pen, and I just started penning down, and whilst I was writing it, and it suddenly became a lot of information out there, and I said, this would be something valuable for a business owner to go through. The key insight of this book is, why should a customer buy from you instead of a competitor? That's a key question. Why? Because we are out there in a competitive world. Why should a customer buy from you and not your competitor? And that was the subject around the book, which
Okay.
I focused on. And that leads to cash flow, because if you don't stand out in against your competitors, if you don't have a strong differentiator, then the cash flow doesn't come in. Then the customer doesn't pay you in your terms. Then you are in the customer's terms. So how to change
True.
your positioning in such a way that customers line up for you and you demand your terms from the customer. So this is what the book is all about.
So it's been recently that I've been so fascinated about business. I was not a guy who was into business fascination, but there is a guy, Alex Hamuzi, I follow a lot, and then I sort of became a coach myself, and it started with fitness. And I think I told you my story, like my I had my neck broken and then I went into
Yes.
fitness and I got so good into fitness that I can teach it to other people, like because I've been through like the worst possible situation. So now I had like the secrets that can maybe give somebody a healthy life, right? So I started with fitness and then I came into mindset. Now I'm sort of transitioning into life coach. But the journey has been so fascinating that what I have realized in this whole journey is business, sales, and life is not so different, because I feel when you try to interact with people and when you think about sales, your subject is always the same. This is your subject is human in every field out there. It's not about the we may think we are dealing with McDonald's or we are dealing with something, but you are always dealing with people,
Yeah.
and people have a human psyche, and that human psyche is always same. So
Yeah.
how I got interested into sales was like when I started reading, like it gives you such a deep insight about how human thinks. That fascinates me a lot more than just that sale thing. And then
Yeah.
I got to think about business, and then something that really hit me was uh, the value of time, the hourly time rate that increases as you sort of become more financially free. So if you charge somebody, like a labor would work an entire day for $700, right? He's giving 12 hours of his life. Eventually you're trading time, and you might give 1 hour of your life and you might coach somebody and you might even automate it. So you are reducing your time, but you are increasing your leverage. And that kicked me really hard. Like, it's all about getting leverage in life. It's all about getting that time ka leverage in life. And the more you become an expert, like you are an expert in this skill, right? So your leverage of time is higher than maybe somebody else's.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna definitely grab your copy. I'm gonna buy it. And
Thank you.
because I've recently started reading a lot of business related books. Even, I know Rich Dad Poor Dad is a cult classic, and it still has a follow up like Cash Flow Quadrant. It is very
Yes.
similar to yours, I think so, but really interested in this topics.
Absolutely, you said the right thing. Time. I mean, once we realize the value of our time, and each one of us has value of time. Time is a big asset. Is a big asset, and there are only 168 hours in a week. And once you realize that, and then you plan your week accordingly. But yes, time is important. You need to leverage your time. Absolutely, well said.
Yeah, well, it's like this realization hits so hard to people because if somebody is dying and you literally tell them, yeah, you could have gotten like 24 hours extra if you would have automated this task. You would like, okay, let's do it right now if I get 24 extra hours to live, right? But that's not the mindset we think upon because we cannot see the end line. So we assume there is no end line. But
Yeah.
there is an end line for everybody, and you make the most out of it when you kind of optimize your life, right? And then it changes your entire perspective. Like now every decision that I make is based upon how much time I invest into it. It's not about the
Absolutely.
money I spent into it, it's more about how much time I save spending the money into it. I think money is the cheapest way to buy your time. To be
So
honest.
the return on time investment invested, ROTI, that's what it is. And a business owner might spend a lot of time in accounts or maybe invoicing, but if you spend 2 3 hours every day, and you realize that getting an accountant is way cheaper than you actually
Correct.
doing the work for an accountant.
Exactly.
So that's what the return on time invested is all about.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say one statement, and then I'm gonna ask you about your advice for aspiring entrepreneurs. Like, I know this culture has increased in India. Like, startups has been become, because there's a lot of angel investors out there now than
Yeah.
ever before. And startup journey, like there are books on it. There is everything. I was recently reading a book which eventually had the entire roadmap of getting a startup ready. So and India is booming. So what's
Yes.
your advice to anybody who just wants to start out? Like maybe he has no idea, maybe he's not from the family like yours which has an business mindset, but what would you say to a person like that?
Well, the advice I would give firstly is make sure the business model is validated. Make sure
Okay.
that they're solving like a big problem, which that's the core part of the business, and the values and needs to be aligned with the business that they're starting. It needs to be needs to be a vision before while you start the business, and that would be the first step. Validate the business model, validate your values aligned to the business, and not just start a business to sell in the first place. I mean, there needs to be a heart
True.
attached to the you must be invested in the business for the long term, and
True.
that would be the for one suggestion. And after that, I would advise them to have to get yourself free from the day-to-day operations like we discussed, and focused on the growth activities. Focus on building a strong core team in your business, which can drive the business further on, and you can later expand and grow multiple businesses. That
True.
would be my advice to them. Yeah.
So I think I totally agree with it because it makes total sense. Because if you're not invested with your heart into something and you just maybe you get successful, you get initial success, but then if you don't enjoy it, it's not going to last long, right?
Sure.
So thriving success is much more important than just having a spark of it. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I totally agree. Again, I heard something beautiful is that recently I'm consuming a lot of business content. So there was a quote like we have limited energy as business owners, right? And a lot of people may have a lot of leverage in terms of different industries, and they have a lot of businesses running, and they might so it's difficult to manage. Like if you put all of your energy in one business to run it, then maybe you can generate the profit and revenue much more than what you were running. Like you were running 30 businesses, but they're just mediocre. Like you investing in paying attention to them, you're investing in managing them, and your mind is not narrowed down into one direction, right? And if you cut 99% of that one business, and if I give you a choice of just pick one that you feel like you want to do, and which you like feel is really easy for you, I think that gives you a lot more scalability and revenue in terms of growing. Like this is sort of a mistake maybe somebody who's starting out makes. Like I try so many things and then I get lost into it. Like what's your take on that? Like do you agree with that thing?
See, I prefer, scaling one, establishing one, and then moving on to the other. Because if you have two mediocre and then the three mediocre, then you're floating, and that's
Correct.
not a good space to be. So to take a company to one level, where it's not dependent on you, you can move away, move away and let the business run without your involvement. That would be the right place to go into the second business. And like I said, you got to be invested. You got to be invested in those businesses, and you can't give your agency and your own responsibility to somebody else. You better be on the driver's seat, to take at least the vision forward. Yeah.
True. I definitely feel like, yeah, that makes total sense. And now coming back to, I saw that you were initially a financial planner, then you switched to, being a business coach. So like, why the jump? And like, can you just give a sort of
So yeah, I started with making financial plans for families, and I enjoyed doing that. And because it was trying to help people, again, family getting connected together. So when I used to
correct?
go to them for a feast, and they used to be like, India is a country of free advice. How can you ask us for a feast for making a
Okay.
financial plan? And I remember the first check I got was for 1,500 rupees. For I made a financial plan and they bought some insurance, and it somewhere didn't click because that's not the game I wanted to play. And next morning, I saw a video which said financial planners are running away from business owners because business owners have their own finances messed up. So that's what the video said. And so I was like, I'm going to go towards business owners, and I'm going to help them not in the personal finance, but in the cash flow challenges of their companies. And that's the day the shift happened, moved from personal finance to solving cash flow challenges for business owners. Because I've gone through, tough days of cash flow challenges in the past, and I know how to get out of that situation and, scale the
True.
business. So I said, let's help business owners to do that. And that worked out.
Yeah, I think if I have to niche this down to and summarize this, then the thing would be scalability, right? Again, that's the funda that we talk about, leverage of time. I think even if I think you enjoyed it, but the point was it doesn't make sense in the long run, right? Like if you imagine yourself doing that, it's sort of like a job. You are doing coaching stuff, but you are like directly getting into that operations, and how many times are you going to do that? And then again, the value of your time is not getting back to you, right? You
Absolutely.
are providing more and getting less, so the feedback is in negative sense, right? So again it comes back to the leverage of time concept, so ROTI.
Yes. Yes.
And that was a thing that's huge. And again, luckily you got the post as well, so
Yeah.
that kicked you out.
Yes.
So yeah, I think it makes total sense. So since you switched and then you sort of launched your own program, so can you elaborate on your 6 months business growth accelerator? Like what is it about? Like which is your target audience? Like which person do you think is the right fit for that program?
Yes, so I created this program, Business Growth Accelerator, and it's a 6 months program, right from marketing to sales to cash flow to team building to automating the business. And this is a program, I realized many business owners
Hmm.
they get into business during their,
Hmm.
their post graduation, and because it's
Okay.
the culture and sometimes they're forced to do it, so they miss out on that, the higher the education that they need to actually run and scale a business. And they end up scaling a business, but at the age, they get stuck at some point. They do a
Okay.
great job by scaling the business, but there reaches a point, where there's stagnation.
Plateau.
So exactly. So that's why I've got this program, and it's offline as well as online. It's a 6 month journey where we go deep into marketing. We give them the templates, we give them the strategies, we give them the SOPs, we implement, and in those after they finish the 6 months, they're a different person. They can see
True.
more. They can see more, and they've expanded themselves, and they can scale their businesses multiple times. And this is what we've gone through a couple of batches, and they're getting phenomenal results. My target audience are business owners from the age of 30 to 45. That's the age, and I help them to save time because I give them my failures, most the failures
True.
which I've seen, so I don't want them to waste time. Either you learn from your own experiences or you learn from experienced people, and I help them with my experience to ensure they don't waste time, and I give them that clear direction to just move forward, and so that they save time and they move to the direction faster. So this is a 6 months program. It's a certified program, and it's everything that is needed to scale your business on auto mode.
Nice. A lot of things that I picked up from this is that, again, a smart man maybe learns from his own mistake, but the wiser one learns from others, not
Yes.
committing the crimes on your own. And
Right.
it also clicked me that there is a book written by somebody. It's all about all the problems that he has faced in life and how he has solved it so that you don't do it.
Yes.
So I think it's really beautiful that, sometimes having problems and then learning from somebody else's perspective is so much valuable to you that it can actually save a lot of time in your life and also add a lot of value.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think, and if somebody out there is like just starting out their business, is he also eligible for your program, or like they should be at a certain level and then only they should try to get into this? Like,
No, it's for aspiring business owners as well, because,
okay,
like I said, whatever they missed out, the cream of knowledge they missed out
true,
in the beginning, I make sure that they get that, and they're not handicapped with that knowledge. And it's not only knowledge; it's implementation as well. Okay, because that's the big challenge. You can get knowledge, but if there's no implementation, there won't be any results. So this is a
true.
implementation program, and high amount of accountability is there, and I ensure and I push them to deliver and get
Do it.
results.
Yeah. So just to summarize this for the audience, so if there is a, like, for example, you said 30 to 35, right? So if,
Yes.
for example, there is, let's say my age, 29 or 28 or 27, let's get 25 to 30 ka bracket. I think a
Yes.
lot of people in that bracket also try to switch from maybe a past life to a new life,
Yes.
like in their quarter life thing. So those guys will also be a better fit. So if they have any idea and they don't know where to start, where to scale, what is SOP, they don't have the basics of like how to set up a business, maybe they don't even know what is a funnel.
Yes.
So I also didn't know what is a funnel like an year ago.
Yes.
But so those guys are also the right fit, right? Just summarizing out for the audience. So if anybody out there
Yes,
is,
absolutely. If you're 25 to 30 is also is that age group is also welcome, and as long as they make it to the session, as long as they make it to the session, and discipline is a big part of the sessions, because
true,
we push them to be successful. So you may be whatever age, but you need to show up.
true,
You need to
true.
show up whatever age it is, and with all that distraction going on in your lives, and with everything, I mean, you need to be there, present, focused in your business, and discipline is a big part, in the program.
Yeah. So funny enough, I think you already mentioned this very beautifully, is that being a student is the greatest thing that you can do for yourself,
Yes.
right? So you are already an expert in certain things, but the day you think you are an expert, you lose it.
Yes.
That's what I feel. Like you need to have an approach of always having a learning mindset, and no matter wherever you are. And so funny enough is that I started learning about business or funnels or sales, or because it taught me a lot about human psyche. So it wasn't my intention, but then I realized, since I'm giving coaching, since I better learn sales, I better learn to talk to people in a better way, I better learn to leverage time in a better way. If I would have thought, I know about this thing, what do I need to do? So just you gave an example of financial planner, right? So maybe I was stuck into that model 2 years back, where I give some consultation to somebody, and then they pay me $1,000 or $500 for giving them a diet plan or something like that, right? There are people who sell the diet plan for 1 lakh, for
Yeah.
example, right? They are giving the same amount of information that you are giving. I might even be giving more, because the point is, how do you leverage, how do you talk, how do you make the same thing so much more valuable that a person is willing to pay that much? It teaches you so much about a person as a human, and how they fundamentally behave. I think
Yes.
it gives you strength in all walks of life, like not
Yes.
just in a very small sense, but as you said, it's really important to show up in such places, in such seminars, and really appreciate, man, that the work you're doing is really meaningful to a lot of lives. And I feel I have learned so much from such courses, whatever I could afford and whatever I could not even afford still. So it's been really, really nice to have people like you around that we can trust and we can move ahead with. Yeah. So let's make the conversation a little light. I think we took it to a very deep level now.
Right.
So yeah. So like, how did your upbringing and your academics help you with your business? Right. I know you mentioned that a lot of people miss out on the business cream, but I just want to ask, like, Akhil, that how did child Akhil in his academics? You were doing good. That I saw you studied abroad in a really I think Nottingham. You
Yes.
studied there.
Yes.
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 So how did that help you in terms of your business thing? Like, how much value did that add? Like the education, the traditional education, how much value did that add?
So when I was doing my MBA in Post School of Management, Delhi, and it was affiliated with the Nottingham Business School, and that's the time I had a lot of rich friends, and I was
Okay.
surrounded by rich friends, and I was this guy, poor guy from Orissa, and being around them, I learned whatever I needed to learn because
True.
their businesses were flourishing, but they used to wake up at 2 in the afternoon. Okay. And I'm like, you wake up at 2 in the afternoon, you've come across such people. You wake up at 2 in the afternoon, but your business is flourishing, listed in the stock market. And, you I mean, there's total, you see them and their lifestyle and their business, is not matching. And that's when I
Yeah.
started, studying more about such businesses where the business owner is not even involved in his business. I mean, they don't even some may not go to their offices for a week, but their businesses continue to grow, and they're enjoying their golf, they're enjoying their lifestyle. And I'm like, this is great. Because when I saw my family business, they were working hard, struggling day to day, month to month survival. And on this side, friends, teaching me another lesson. And since the age of 20, I've been, learning about how to reach this level where your business is growing. You're not a part of that business, but, it continues to grow. And since then, I've been, just learning about systems on autopilot and how to run your business on totally autopilot. And yeah, that was the biggest lesson I learned in my college time. Yes, you were given the knowledge and tools in your MBA, but the real learning
Hmm.
happened. The practical learning happened outside of the MBA.
So there's a lot to dissect here, like, because I loved this section. It really hit me too, because I recently have made some friends. Like, when you start to switch your mindset, now you automatically attract such people, and then you realize, the life you think would require so much of effort, it does not require that much of effort if you make the effort at the right place and right time.
Yes.
You understand? It's not about being like, you need to work hard. Don't get me wrong. You need to work hard, but you need to work hard in the right place, so that it magnifies the result in a different sense. So you are average of 5 people around you, and if those 5 people are billionaire, you certainly pick up something that will make you rich. And I truly believe that, because the same thing that hits me hard too is that you don't need to wake up in the morning and run for a local train and, like, आज तो train छूट जाएगी तो जिंदगी खत्म.
Right.
and these people are waking up like 2 and then think, okay, let's have a golf session and then we'll think about the day, how to begin with it. So there is a lot of, and I think the biggest challenge is not earning money. The biggest challenge is changing your mindset. the,
Absolutely.
the, the money comes. The point is, if I ask somebody ki yaar, chal, let's set a goal of making 10 lakhs a month, right? Like pagal hai kya? That's annual package of Indians, like every, also not like to a top 25% actually, not even average, I would say. So like those people who are earning good money in their jobs are like earning 10 lakhs annually. So if I ask that same guy, like, what if you can make 10 lakhs a month? Like he will like pagal hai kya? It's like, they can't imagine it, right? If you can't imagine, you can't do it. As long as it feels impossible, it is impossible, right?
Right.
So I think it really hits me hard what you said, is because a lot of people juggle with their mindset a lot. Ki yaar, that is the biggest breakthrough. I think you have the thing that you mentioned in your program as well, that people come as a person and they go as a different guy, right? It's a
Yes.
switch of the mindset, right? Because
Right.
now you know that you put less effort, but the system are so good that you get the 10x the value of the amount that you were putting in, right? And you feel
Absolutely.
like a fool, like, why didn't I do this 10 years ago? Like I could have saved so much.
Absolutely. And you
So
use the right word, mindset. And mindset and expansion. And even expansion. These are personal, these are life coaching subjects. And AI, difficult for AI to change your mindset. But
correct.
and this is what it is. And with the, it's all about the mindset. And your average of 5, I was fortunate to have, they taught me a valuable lesson at the age of, my average of 5. And many times you can't see, like a person who's into day-to-day operation, he cannot see, he cannot
Exactly.
stop, he cannot stop and then see how the business will run without him or her. And then that's where the challenge is, and that's where you need to step back, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. I feel we are the best investment. We are the
True.
best investment to invest in. And you expand yourself. It's like a cup glass. You need more water, you need to increase the size of the container, and we need to increase our size of container to see more. That's only when you can grow your business. If you don't expand yourself, it's impossible to grow the business. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really a deep subject. I think we can have a separate podcast on only this subject,
Yeah.
and I do look forward to it, because I think we'll meet again, and I think we have a lot to devour in terms of mindset, and how people around you change you.
Yes.
And it's really something that sounds really silly, but it isn't until it hits you. So trust me, guys, what he is saying makes total sense when you go through it. And
Absolutely. And I want to add one more thing is, the friends who taught me, and, who used to wake up at 2, and I learned from them. They're the ones who first came for coaching to me for when I started as a business coach.
nice.
So that was life 360 degrees for me. And I'm thankful to them, for teaching me valuable lessons.
Such things really hit you hard. Like, I have gone through that same feeling in sort of fitness, because I was a guy looked down upon. Like I used to look like literally a potato, and then the same guy had abs, the same guy became a power lifter, and then people came to me asking for advice. Like the same person who might people used to laugh upon is the same guy we are coming to ask the
Yeah.
advice for now. And it hits you hard, and I totally agree. Like, yeah, life teaches you a lot. It's a small world. It
Yes,
teaches you a lot.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's begin sort of a rapid fire round. I just hit you with some random question, and since you are sort of from the financial area, so let's start with, what are the uh, worst advices, three worst financial advice that you have heard.
Worst advices would be money is not everything. Money doesn't grow on trees. And, and also rich people don't earn the right way. These are the worst kind of things I've learned throughout my upbringing. And life is totally opposite to that.
Yeah, and what are the three best advices?
Three best advices are manage your money well. Money management system is when I learned about money management system, that changed a lot for me. I mean, to be move towards financial freedom. There's a step by step way to move towards financial freedom.
Agree.
That was the second. Third was, to create, funds, contingency funds for a year in your company, so that you're cash rich. Building a cash rich business is has been a great advice I've heard.
Top 3 books that you recommend to any aspiring business owner?
Well, one is Cash Flow Secrets, definitely.
True.
Then there's Small Steps to Big Growth. And then there's one, How to Grow Your Small Business. That's an interesting one as well.
What's that one habit that has helped you grow a lot financially, like a financial habit that you think that it's needed?
One habit which has changed my life is quitting cigarettes. It's not a financial habit, but I'm just putting it after 18 years. I just quit, and I've been impeccable to my words. But one habit is simplification, like just to live a simplified
Oh,
life, and not go overboard with the spending. Just live a simplified life. That has been a game changer for me. Managing money in such a way that you can live a simplified life, and that's helped me a lot.
so I think I feel really curious to expand out in a little bit. Is that people think that simplifying life is easy? It's not. So simplifying life and being a fundamentalist, like I truly believe in being very fundamental to the core, because when you are very fundamental, very simplistic in your thinking, now everything is crystal clear, and when you have clarity, a lot of things open up.
Yes.
But to have that clarity, it takes time, it takes effort to go down to that level, like you told about why, right? There are a lot of people who don't even think about their why. Like
Right.
it's a different state to know your why, but to not even be aware to know your why is a whole different game. So what's your favorite travel destination?
I travel a lot, but Singapore is favorite for me. My wife's family is there, and
Okay.
my coach is there, and yeah, that's got to be my favorite destination.
Yeah, so the next would be like what's your favorite food to eat, like your comfort food?
I love Indian. I am Indian. Love Indian. That's my favorite all
Nice.
time. Yes.
Okay, cool. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie would be Notting Hill. I watched it a long time back. Yeah, that would be a
Oh,
favorite.
interesting choice.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting choice. Okay, so the last one might make you think a little bit, but the purpose I'm asking this question is because since you come from a family who has a business mindset, I want you to talk to a family who doesn't have a business mindset, and maybe their kids or their grandkids are becoming a first generation business owner or a second generation business. Maybe first, just talk about first. So, what advice would you give? Because these people don't have that mindset, right? They feel like the job is the only thing that is secure in life, and I understand that business has its own ups and downs, but what would you just say to them if you have to say anything? Like, what would you say?
Well, I would tell them to your business can impact a million lives. I mean, and one advice I would give them, that if you don't have your own goals and if you don't have your own mission, then somebody is going to hire you to work for you to work for their mission. So, and I would also tell them that a salary can be a drug to kill your own mission. So
True.
find your own mission, and find and you're worth it. You're worth it to make your own mission before somebody hires you to make theirs.
So either you can live your dream or help somebody else live their
Yes, live
dream,
his
right?
dream. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, that is what they really don't understand, because I feel like now the gap is closing on, because now people are seeing actually people grow, and even young kids doing, like, the Zapto is founded by 17-year-old kids, and it's a 300 crore business now.
Yeah,
So like people can see those evidences now. It was really hard to believe earlier, but I really want to even talk to this mindset of people that it really just takes action to see your purpose come into reality.
right.
Unless you act upon it, nothing comes true, not even a job.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's thing. So that's the rapid fire round, Akhil.
Yeah,
I hope you enjoyed the rapid fire.
absolutely,
The last question
absolutely. Love.
was just a
Yes.
message for everyone. But
Yeah. That's a stern message. I don't mean to be, so straightforward, but yeah, it's a message. It's a message. Yeah.
yeah, because nowadays India is heading to a country that is gonna be of leaders, right?
Yes.
And to create more leaders, you need to have courage. I
Yes.
feel the fundamentally strong value that I resonate to is, having courage, because that is the most important thing. A lot of people think you need knowledge, you need money, you only need courage, you need guts to take that first step. Once you take that first step, everything is just a journey, right? But that first step needs courage, a lot of
Yes.
courage.
Yes.
So yeah, because there is no guarantee. We have been living in a world where you get everything in terms of guarantee, right? Like that's how you
Yes.
are oriented from your birth. So
Yes.
business is not a guaranteed return, but it's a worthwhile return.
Absolutely.
So anything that you want to say to your younger self, if you had a chance to do that, like what would you say to young Akhil?
Well, I would tell myself, my younger self, and all the young people watching and listening, is firstly get a mentor early on. Okay, I took a long time. I found my mentors at 39. Find a mentor so that they can help you with their mistakes so that you don't end up making mistakes. Number one. Number two, yes, learn from the experienced rather than your own experiences. You got to keep moving fast and forward. And I would also tell my younger self is to build strong systems and build strong teams so that you're not involved in day-to-day operation and you can end up spending more time with your family, okay, growing up and doing what you
True.
enjoy doing. And like I'm on a mission to help business owners scale their business and automate so that they can spend time with their families. And being on a mission is rewarding as well. So it's a choice. It's by choice, and it's not that you have to. It's by choice, and that is fulfilling.
That is really awesome. Like I really like your message, and I really appreciate that people like you out there are doing and putting in work, taking the risk of being able to service so many people, impacting so many lives. And it's crazy that you get such opportunities now which didn't exist maybe 20 years back, right?
Yeah.
So I think we are living in India, which has a lot of leverage right now. The
Yes.
point is, again, as you said, choice. Do you choose to take the benefit of that leverage? So
Absolutely.
I'll end this statement with this thing: please choose to take leverage in your life. I think that should be the motto of this podcast. Being a
Thank
business
you.
owner, being anybody who is out there, right? I think that's beautiful.
Thank you, Neeraj, for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you, Akhil. It was really awesome. And I look forward to seeing you in future again in episode. We can have different themes. I think you have
Absolutely.
a lot to unpack,
Yes.
and I would love to meet you, man. And you have a lovely smile. So
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Neeraj.
हमारी बस एक छोटी सी रिक्वेस्ट है। अगर आप लोगों को ये पॉडकास्ट अच्छा लग रहा है ना, और इससे आपकी लाइफ में वैल्यू ऐड हो रही है ना, तो इसको एक बंदे के साथ ज़रूर शेयर करना। इससे हमें पता चलता है कि हम अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं एंड लोगों को उसी काम का बेनिफिट मिलता है। सो थैंक यू।